The life of Moses. A biblical journey in the ancient land of Egypt, at a time when the Israelites lived as slaves under a harsh rule of Pharaoh. A child was born who would become one of the most significant figures in the history of God's people. His name was Moses. When Pharaoh commanded that all Hebrew male infants be killed, Moses' mother, Jochebed, placed her son in a basket and set it afloat on the Nile River. By divine providence, the baby was discovered by Pharaoh's daughter, who took pity on him and raised him as her own in the palace of Egypt. Thus, Moses grew up in the wealth and power of Pharaoh's household, yet he was a Hebrew by birth. One day, as a grown man, Moses witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. In a burst of anger, he killed the Egyptian and buried the body in the sand. But the act became known, and Moses fled Egypt in fear. He journeyed to the land of Midian, where he married Zipporah, the daughter of a Midianite priest named Jethro, and became a shepherd. Years passed, then one day, while tending his flock near Mount Horeb, Moses saw a bush that burned with fire but was not consumed. As he approached, God called to him from the flames, "Moses, Moses." There, God revealed his plan. He had heard the cries of his people in Egypt and would deliver them. Moses was chosen to lead them out of bondage. Despite his fears and objections, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh?" God assured Moses that he would be with him. He gave Moses signs to perform and appointed his brother Aaron to speak on his behalf. Moses returned to Egypt and confronted Pharaoh with God's command, "Let my people go." Pharaoh refused, and so began a series of 10 devastating plagues. Water turned to blood. Frogs, gnats, flies, livestock disease, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and finally, the death of the firstborn. Only the Israelites, who obeyed God's command to mark their doors with the blood of a lamb, were spared from the final plague. This became the first Passover. Broken by the last plague, Pharaoh allowed the Israelites to leave. But soon after, he pursued them with his army. Trapped between Pharaoh's chariots and the Red Sea, the people despaired. Yet Moses raised his staff, and God parted the waters. The Israelites walked through on dry ground. When Pharaoh's army followed, the waters returned and overwhelmed them. In the wilderness, God provided for his people. He gave them manna from heaven and water from a rock. At Mount Sinai, he gave them his law, the 10 Commandments, written on stone tablets. The covenant was established. God would be their God, and they would be his people. But the people were quick to forget. While Moses was on the mountain receiving the law, they fashioned a golden calf and worshipped it. In anger, Moses shattered the tablets. Yet he interceded for the people, and God, in his mercy, renewed the covenant. The Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years. Again and again they grumbled and rebelled. Yet God remained faithful. Through Moses, he gave laws, established order, and guided them toward the promised land. Moses himself, however, would not enter it. In a moment of frustration, he struck the rock to bring forth water, instead of speaking to it as God had commanded. Because of this disobedience, God told him he would only see the land from a distance. As his life drew to a close, Moses climbed Mount Nebo. From its peak, the Lord showed him the land he had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There, Moses died, and God himself buried him. No one knows his grave to this day. Moses was a prophet, a leader, and a servant of God. He spoke with the Lord face to face, as a man speaks with his friend. Through him, God delivered a nation, gave his law, and revealed his character. In the final words of Deuteronomy, we read, "Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. who did all those signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt. For no one has ever shown the mighty power or performed the awesome deeds that Moses did in the sight of all Israel. The story of Moses is a testament to God's power, patience, and promise, a reminder that even the most unlikely individuals can be used for extraordinary purposes when they walk with the Lord.